Welcome to True News and Opinion. Today we're going to look at some news regarding the open border policy of this administration, and how it affects the Texas southern border and what our governor is doing to help protect the state and the country. Now let's get into it. Let's find out what the vice president had to say recently. She was very instrumental in making sure that we all know that the border is secure. Let me back this up here just a little bit.
A secure border, in that is a priority for any nation, including ours and our administration.
All right. You heard her. She says that our border is secure. Well, it depends on your perspective, I guess. Over the last fiscal year of 2022, there were more than 2.7 million encounters at the southern border. That doesn't include those who got away. These are illegal immigrants coming across. Now, let's look at the order by Governor Greg Abbott and see what he has in plan for the state. We're going to page over here. Now let's get into this and see what the governor has to say about that. We're going to blow that up a little bit. Greg Abbott: I have invoked the invasion clauses of the U.S. and Texas constitutions to fully authorize Texas to take unprecedented measures to defend our state against an invasion. I'm using that constitutional authority and other authorization in the executive orders to keep our state and country safe. Sounds pretty straightforward. According to our vice president, he shouldn't have to do that because the border is secure. There should be no illegal immigration into the United States. That simply is not the case. So let's take a look at the order and see what it says that the governor is going to do. He is going to deploy the National Guard to safeguard our border and to repel and turn back immigrants trying to cross the border illegally. Deploy the Texas Department of Public Safety to arrest and return to the border immigrants who crossed illegally, and deploy DPS to arrest illegal immigrants for criminal activity. Build a border wall in multiple counties on the border. Deploy gunboats to secure the border. Designate Mexican drug cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. Enter into a compact with other states to secure the border. Enter into agreements with foreign powers to enhance border security, and provide resources for border counties to increase their efforts to respond to the border invasion. Again, pretty straightforward. He's doing what the federal government should already be doing. They should be sending troops or National Guard or law enforcement down there in by the hundreds or thousands to stop this from coming, to get the word across the border that you can no longer come through here illegally. Legal immigration is the way it needs to be done. Now, I'll grant you there should be some reforms to the immigration process as far as legal immigration goes. We could work on that. But we first have to stop the illegal immigration. Let's get into this a little bit more. Let's find out some more about what is really going on in regards to drug cartels, money laundering, and the likes of that. Let's back this. I'm going to start right 22:18, and we're going to hear what this man has to say. Let's get into this. Okay, let's go.
So his solution was to smuggle it back down the same lines that he'd used to get the drugs in. He took it back into Mexico, where to his immense satisfaction he discovered, and delight, he discovered that this funny bank in his area was now part of a much bigger bank, an international network, and they weren't pursuing any controls. Contrary to what
He's talking about when El Chapo of the Sinaloa cartel smuggled the drugs into the United States, he would get back in return hundreds of millions of dollars in ones, fives, tens, 20s, and he had to launder that through a bank. And fortunately for him, HSBC purchased the fifth largest bank in Mexico, which coincidentally was the most popular bank in the northern part of the country of Mexico. It already handled drug money transfers, but now the drug cartels had an international bank to launder the money through, and they were more than happy to help out. One of the largest cash deposits made by the cartel was over $900,000 at one time at one bank, in one branch. They brought it in duffel bags and laid it on the counter to make a deposit. Here's some more interesting information about how that works in Mexico. Let's get a look at this, and I can get it right about there.
When they got to the counter, they would literally flash up in the palm of their hand picture of the teller's boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, their children, and that was a clear signal. We know who you are. We know where you live. And in Mexico, there's a phrase, you may have heard this phrase, it's called the silver or the lead.
Well, I think we know what that is referring to. We'll just leave it at that. But that's how the deposits were made and still are to this day, without a doubt. We need to put a stop to this drug smuggling. We need to put a stop to the transfer of the illegal drug money back to Mexico. We need to do some serious things. It's serious business we're trying to take care of here. Let's take a look now at a potentially alleged corrupt DEA agent and see what we can find out about how money laundering works and the government of the United States.
Most Americans aren't aware of that the federal government launders tens of millions of dollars a year on behalf of the world's most violent drug cartels.
You launder 100,000 and you can figure out who dropped off the money. You work that person higher up into the organization. You find out who the traffickers are. You do bank subpoenas. You find out where the money is going. So the goal was to generate targets, seizures, and prosecutions.
But Irizarry says it became more of a private slush fund for him and his friends.
There you go. An alleged corrupt DEA agent taking funds, helping the drug cartels launder money, and just basically getting rich off of it. Let's take a look at another little short clip here and see what this leads to.
It's a never-ending battle for law enforcement.
The cartels own the border, though. They own every bit of it. And they are using these people to shape the border so that they can smuggle through commodities of the highest value, whether it be a criminal alien willing to pay more, whether it be a terrorist, or whether it be narcotics.
Rodney Scott, former...
And there you have it. I think he knows what he's talking about. Here we go. Here's some thermal imagery of immigrants coming across the border. And you can see the massive numbers from this one.
This morning, in just a 24-hour span in this sector, there were more than 1,700 illegal crossings. And as you can see from this video, almost all the people coming in are single adults. Had a chance to talk to a lot of them as they were walking up. They're mostly from Cuba, Colombia, Nicaragua, Uruguay, and the Dominican Republic. And you see them just walking in this single file line, willing to give themselves up and surrender to Border Patrol. They're doing.
All right, thousands. That was just less than 2 weeks ago at this time, about 2 weeks ago. So they're continuing to come across the border. These are all reasons why the governor of Texas has declared an invasion of our state and our country. Let's take a look at another statistic here. We're going to look at the border encounters for this year and the beginning of 2023. This is from U.S. Customs and Border Protection website. 2017, 526,000 encounters. 2018, 683. 2019, 1.4 million. 2020, dramatic, cut in half. That could be because of the previous administration enforcing the laws, rules, had more of the wall completed, and it put a huge dent in the number of illegal crossings and border encounters. Look at 2021. Almost immediately, there's an increase to nearly 2 million in fiscal year 2021. We know what happened there. New administration. 2022, almost another million over the previous year, 2.7 million. Already 277,000 for fiscal year 2023. That is a huge bump in the number of crossings. Here's another statement from Governor Abbott. While securing the border is the federal government's responsibility, Texas will not sit idly by as this crisis grows. Texas is responding with the most robust and comprehensive border plan the nation has ever seen. That's right. I think we need to have more states take charge of immigration. We could possibly look at leaving the federal government out of it. Just take care of it ourselves. They don't seem to want to do the job. We've got a new Congress in the House of Representatives coming up in January. Their hands are tied. The Senate's not going to let them get anything through. The Senate's not going to pass any bills regarding the border because they know that whatever they want to do is not going to pass the House. For 2 years, nothing's going to get done. Representatives control the money. The only thing they can do is control where the money is spent and see if they can handle it that way. But as far as getting anything done, it looks like nothing's going to come down. So we're going to be stuck for the next 2 years unless something major changes, unless the administration has a change of heart and decides they need to close the border, secure it, make it harder to come across. Something needs to be done. And I'm just giving you these facts. Hope you can learn something from this. If you like the message, if you like the information, please like, share, subscribe, pass this on. Let others know about it. Until next time, thanks for watching.